Hello everyone, welcome to Simplii Finance. In the last video, we have seen how corporate actions impact the EPS calculations and also the weighted average number of shares in EPS calculations. For those who have not seen the previous video, kindly check the link in the I section in this video. In this video, we'll try to understand the what if converted method and its impact on the EPS. Alright, let's get into the video. Stay tuned, take notes, and don't skip the video so that you'll understand the concept clearly and easily. Now we move on to diluted EPS. So we are done with basic EPS. Now we are on to diluted EPS. So these are companies with complex capital structure. So companies with complex capital structure simply means those which have some dilutive securities in their capital structure. So according to our curriculum here, there's only 3 dilutive securities given, but in actual reality there could be many more. But for our exams, we are only expected to understand these 3 dilutive securities. First is on the convertible preference shares. So let's see about them. So again, here in Simplii Finance, we follow a no formula approach. So we'll try to understand how to calculate this intuitively. First thing, on calculating on diluted EPS, we use something called as what if converted method. Okay, so let's see. First, let's try to find the basic EPS. So here we start with the net income, that is 2.75 million, and we had some preference dividend. So we had some 20,000 preference shares at the rate of 5 per share as dividend. You get as 100,000 as dividends. So the numerator will become 2.65 million. And the denominator, so the weighted average number of shares is already given here, and that is 500,000. Okay, so this becomes the denominator. Now for the diluted EPS, what if this preference shares gets converted into equity shares? So if they get converted into equity shares, then I don't have to pay, that is the company doesn't have to pay preference dividends. Okay? So here the net income still remains the same as 2.75 million, and I do not pay any preference dividends. So the numerator increases to 2.75 million. And the weighted average number of shares is also the same, but there is some dilutions because of converted preference shares. So each preference share gets a conversion of 10 shares for each preference share. So you have 20,000 preference shares, multiply that by 10, your dilution here is 200,000. So the denominator here increases to 7 lakh or 700,000. So here the basic EPS is 2.65 divided by 500,000. 5.3 has a basic EPS, and the diluted EPS becomes 3.92. So this is how, if there is a convertible preferred stock, you find the diluted EPS using the what if converted method, and this is how the numerator changes because you don't have to pay the preference dividends, and the denominator gets increased by the dilution. So you have 20,000 preference stock, you get 10 equity shares for one preferred stock. So that's how you have a increase in equity shares of 200,000 here. So that's what is making this 500,000 into 700,000. So now we'll be looking at the second convertible security according to the curriculum, that is the convertible debt. So here again we'll be using the what if conversion method, and here according to the example, so you have 2.75 million as net income, and you had a average number of shares of 690 million or 690,000 for shares, and you had this convertible debt, debt. So the interest here is around 100,000 of 6%. 100,000 was the face value and 6% is the interest rate, and you have a 30% tax rate given to you. So what happens if there's convertible debt, and what if it gets converted, how is it impacting the income statement? So here this is with debt, you just try to back work, and if the net profit was 2.75 million, and this should have been the EBIT, that is earnings before interest and tax. So just back worked and got this number. So this becomes 70%. So this has to become the 100%. So just doing the math once again. So 2.75 million, this was the 70%. So this becomes the actual profit before tax, and this is after reduction of the interest of 6,000, and this becomes the earnings before interest and tax. So here the earnings before interest and tax is assumed to be the same, but here if the debt gets converted, you don't have to pay interest. There's no interest to be paid. So if the debt gets converted, the net income also jumps by this number. So here the jump is seen to be as 4,200. So this 4,200 can again be broken down as the net income should ideally increase by 6,000, that is the interest expense, but because there's no expense, your tax payments also starts to increase. So you have a net increase in net profit by 4,200, or simply put, the after tax interest. So this is how the net income is getting affected by, that is 6% into 1 minus 30, that is 4.2% on 100,000, that is 4,200. So let's once again try to find out the basic EPS using the what if converted method. So first the basic versus the diluted EPS. The basic EPS starts with net income again. The net income is 2.75 million. There is no preference dividend here, but and the weighted average number of shares outstanding is 690,000. Okay, so the basic EPS is 2.75 million divided by 690,000, 3.98. Now if the debt gets converted, your net income should increase by the after tax interest So this should increase by 4,200. So the numerator increases to become 2,754,200. The weighted average number of shares again here is constant on 6,90,000, plus there is some more dilutions and this gets converted into 10,000 shares. So the denominator becomes 70,000. Therefore, the diluted EPS should become 3.93. This is the diluted EPS. Okay guys, I hope today's topic was clear and easy to understand. If you have any doubts or questions, drop your questions to your comment section below or feel free to DM us to our Instagram ID given below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever we upload the next video. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for your time and patience.